Breaking news at this hour, the stock market and the rocky fallout from President Trump's tariff negotiations continuing at this hour. The market down right now as we come on the air. Good afternoon, all. I'm Jay O'Brien in for Kira Phillips. As those stocks continue to slide, President Trump posting on social media that he's personally taking part in trade negotiations today with Japanese officials alongside his Treasury and Commerce secretaries. But no negotiations taking place right now with China. That trade war only escalating. Chinese goods now subject to a 145% tariff, with some goods experiencing even higher penalties. We'll get into that in a moment. And Fed Chair Jerome Powell addressing that uncertainty in the last hour. But as he started to speak, stocks taking a noticeable slide. And as you can see on your screen, that is continuing right now as we speak. Here is Jay Powell earlier.
The data we have in hand so far suggests that growth has slowed in the first quarter of this year from last year's solid pace. Surveys of households and businesses report a sharp decline in sentiment and elevated uncertainty about the outlook, largely reflecting trade policy concerns.
Elevated uncertainty, the takeaway there, and all of that as California Governor Gavin Newsom announces a new lawsuit against the Trump administration, suing to try to block these tariffs from going into effect. We want to get right to ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers, who joins me now with the latest on all of this. Karen, I do want to start with what we've seen with these Chinese tariffs, because the Chinese government made a point today to say that some goods are subject to a tariff that's even higher than that 145%. 200+%. Give us the facts on that. Is that accurate? And why would the Chinese government come out and say that today?
Some things are going to be subjected to that eye-popping 245% tariff, but it is not everything. It is not widespread, Jay. So just to clear it up, the White House says that this is in addition to things that had already been facing 100% tariffs for years, going back to the Biden administration. Things like electric vehicles and syringes. 100% tariffs were already in place on those kinds of products. And now when you add in the 145% that the president announced last week as part of this escalation of the tit-for-tat trade war with China, that's how you get to the 245%. But this is not everything that's coming in from China, so it's very important to note that people aren't going to suddenly see that dramatic increase in all of the products that are coming from China, the everyday goods that they're purchasing.
So as Jay Powell said earlier, he used the word uncertainty to describe what's going on, and that's why the market had, among other reasons, the reaction it's still having now. One of the things the administration has tried to do to clear up some of this uncertainty is say, look, there are ongoing trade talks happening at this hour with 15 or so nations, Japan today, ongoing. What are the status of these negotiations?
The White House says that they have heard from about 130 countries that want to negotiate a trade deal to try to fend off those very stiff tariffs that right now are on pause, but would go back into effect at the end of the 90-day pause if a trade deal is not reached. The White House says that they're very close to deals with 15 countries, but Jay, I think we have to take a lot of that with a grain of salt right now, because they're not saying details about what that looks like, what the president is hoping to get, what's even on the table in these conversations with these countries. But today, the president said he would be sitting down for meetings with Japanese trade officials. This is the first known meeting that we understand that he has been involved in. But the White House says he wants to be personally engaged in these conversations. South Korea could be the next country that would be having these direct conversations with the administration. You mentioned earlier, but I think it's worth underlining that there are no negotiations happening right now with China. The White House has been almost pleading with Chinese officials to reach out, but China has been playing hardball, accusing the administration of economic bullying and showing no signs of wanting to negotiate an off-ramp to this tit for tat.
Karen Travers from the White House for us. Karen, thank you as always.